Quick reaction time. Pick six games, starting with Monday Nighter. 49ers versus Jets, 32-19. Aaron Rodgers looked tentative to me at best. He's now, I think, sort of reduced to being a pocket quarterback. He seems afraid to throw a deep ball. I'm seeing a lot of people say this, and I think I'm starting to agree with it, where he's just trying to protect his TD to interception ratio, which is historically the best of any quarterback ever. So he just doesn't throw it deep anymore. He only throws it deep when he catches someone offside. Then he's like, well, it's free, so I'll just launch it. That's the 24th straight game in just over 1,000 days since he's thrown for 300 yards. Not good, but I saw this coming. Like, what do they do on offense? Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and then what? A couple targets sprinkled into Lazard. They get no production anywhere else. So, yeah, and that defense got manhandled too, which I just think happens to that defense against good teams. They have great players on there, but are they a good unit? I don't really know. So there's my reaction.
What I'll say to that is they played the 49ers, man. They have one of the best defenses in the league, so it's going to be hard for Aaron Rodgers to make something happen. And it was his first full game back from in over a year. Like, he's had practices. Has he played preseason? I don't even know if he did. So it's a first week back against one of the best defensive teams. Let's not overreact here. Yeah, he was not comfortable going out of the pocket, that's for sure. But I think give him a couple of weeks to warm up. I think he'll definitely do a lot more, and he'll hit that 300-yard mark by, let's say, the fifth week.
My quick reactions are that the 49ers are still the best team in the NFC. They were just like so good. The run game doesn't matter who's playing running back. Debo was looking nice. Kittle was nowhere to be found, but that's a whole other story.
Always happens.
Yeah. On the other hand, Jets underwhelming. Aaron Rodgers looked like a 40-year-old man. And I don't know about that whole interception ratio thing. I feel like you're reading into it a little bit. But he might get better. I'm not expecting much out of the Jets. Or out of the Jets offense.
Listen, I expect him to get better too because he can't get much worse.
That last drive with Tyrod Taylor looked better.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Niners were just like laying off.
They were mailing it in at that point.
Still, he was hitting dots.
Garrett Wilson must at least be fired up. I was thinking during watching that game, because Rodgers was throwing to him like every other play, it looked like, and he made a couple nice first down catches there. So it's like they could develop some chemistry throughout the season, and Garrett Wilson's stock could definitely increase, which is what people thought, right?
Garrett Wilson's a good player, but Breece Hall's a good player. I just don't know what they can do consistently. It's like you say, okay, they're against the Niners, so you have to expect that. But look at the teams in the AFC. Like, the defense is clearly the strong suit of the Jets. The teams in the AFC, in their own division, they have the Bills and the Dolphins. Okay, that's a problem for your defense right away.
The Bills, it's just Allen, though.
Doesn't matter. He's enough. The rest of the AFC is loaded with your Mahomeses, your Strouds, your Anthony Richardsons and Lawrences and Burrows and all these guys.
So it doesn't scare me.
Okay. But this is who you're against. So you're going to have to, step up at some point. And week one, they'll be better, but they have to be better than that. That was really bad. Okay. Ravens versus Chiefs. That was the first game of the year on Thursday night. Chiefs win 27-20. Lamar Jackson, he had 395 all-purpose yards, so I was obviously impressed by that. But in the end, missed Isaiah Likely for the game winner, and then the play right after missed Zay Flowers for the other game winner. Well, not game winner, I should say, game potential winner, because they were going to go for two right after. You saw Harbaugh lifting up his fingers after they thought Likely got the TD. So, listen, I don't know how sustainable that is if Lamar's going to play like that every week. I hope he was just playing like that against the Chiefs, running as much because he wanted to get that monkey off his back. But Chiefs on the other side, Xavier Worthy looking nice. Didn't even need Kelsey that game. And Rashid Rice looking like a one for them too. So, huge problem.
The Chiefs, they started out how we'd expect them to, right? Like, the one thing about the Ravens that they didn't do in the playoffs, let Lamar run the ball. So the first game of this season, that's all he did. He had over 100 rushing yards this game, and he still couldn't will his team to a win over the Chiefs. Andy Reid seemed to be too smart, and that Chiefs defense stepped up big time, even when one of their best corners got traded in the offseason, and they still had no problem. I mean, the Chiefs are just such a superpower. Lamar really has to be even more clutch than almost 400 all-purpose yards. It's crazy what he has to do. But there was definitely that one play at the end of the game to Zay Flowers which seemed like a very obvious miss that he doesn't do usually. So first week getting into the season, but we'll see what happens.
I feel like this is a classic Ravens thing where they'll play great and they'll be in it right till the end and they'll just never win the big games. You know, they win so many games. They win a lot of good games and they beat good teams. Just like, I feel like I'm never going to see them beat the Chiefs while Mahomes and Lamar are the quarterbacks.
He's done it once.
On the other hand, the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl. They're just the best, unless something crazy happens. And I don't want them to win it. I just think, like, how the fuck won't they?
I know. So they lose Legarius Need, but they still have Trent McDuffie there. And meanwhile, the losses for the Ravens look pretty rough. Like, their defense was a bit out of sorts. Lots of penalties on both sides of the ball for them. And their O-line lost to offensive linemen in the offseason. And Chris Jones was wreaking havoc. So losses for them not looking so great. Okay. The Friday game, Eagles versus Packers. Eagles take it 34-29. Joel, you go first since you're such an avid Eagles lover.
Saquon's still good. I was wrong. Saquon is really, really good. I don't like watching it. On the flip side, Jalen Hurts looked pretty fucking average. He did not look particularly good. The first fumble, he wasn't looking, not his fault. Second fumble, I don't know if you call that his fault or the center's fault, but I love that they're having those problems. Just so nice, you know? Like, no more Jason Kelce for these fucking Eagles. Fuck off. Sucks that Jordan Love's going to be out for a little bit. That it's not longer. But Eagles aren't that good. Their defense was bad, and I'm rambling now.
It was such a noticeable difference not having Jason Kelce as a center that game. Like, the tush push obviously did not work at all. And, like, that O-line was out of sorts the whole game. So it was like, that was a direct impact on this team that they have to figure it out. Or else there will be more bullshit turnovers on snaps that Hurts is either not looking away or it's a bad snap. And with a team with this much talent, those mistakes can't happen down the stretch when you're playing good teams or even in the playoffs.
I thought the tush push maybe would look worse, but it looks like, thank God this play was not banned, because it doesn't seem like they can get the same push at all. Getting half a yard at best, where it seemed like Kelce sometimes would get 2 yards when he was in there.
You're going to see it this year. It's just going to be Saquon.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's just Saquon time in the red zone instead of tush pushing in the red zone. You're going to see Saquon. I was worried about the turnovers. I didn't like seeing that at all. Lots of turnovers. Hurts, first drive of the season, you throw a terrible pick like that. And the second pick was way worse.
Across his body into the end zone with two receivers.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Was it A.J. Brown who was double teamed? And it was like not even close.
There looked like 3 defenders were there. Like, there's no way that ball was getting through. So I didn't like that. Way too reckless. Threw 15 picks last year. I want to see that number go down. In the first game, he has 2. So
going up in it.
Not good.
I will say, though, he had a dot to Saquon Barkley for his receiving touchdown. That was a nice throw. Yeah, and then to A.J. Brown on one of his touchdowns, too. Like, I feel like he always does this. He makes some shit plays, some shit interceptions, and he throws some dots to, like, receivers or running back. And it was like, does it make up for the mistakes he made? Like, it's a hard balance there.
It is starting to look like that year they went to the Super Bowl when he had Joel's boy.
Steichen.
Dane Steichen. It looks like when he was their OC, that's when you really saw Hurts at his best, and I don't know if he's going to get back to that. So that's the real worry. But Eagles defense too, against a good team, giving them 29. Not ideal. Okay, sticking to the NFC East. Cowboys versus Browns. Killed them 33-17. That game was basically never close, and you could tell early. I was like, wow. I thought the Browns were going to be good in this game. I would have preferred if they were underdogs and were on the road, but instead at home, my Lord. Cleveland, I think you milked all you could out of the cow that's Deshaun Watson. That is a horrible watch if you're a fan. It's a horrible watch for me. Not a guy you want to root for as a fan. Like, that is abysmal. I'm done with this. I'm done with Deshaun Watson. I didn't have high hopes for him, but I'm confident in saying he's completely washed. He's never getting back to what he was. Like, get this guy off the field. And this is going to go down as the worst contract in NFL history. Congratulations, Cleveland.
Without a doubt, it's going to be the worst one ever. Main takeaway for me is that the Cowboys aren't necessarily that much better than everyone thought, but the Browns are that much worse. But then at the same time, the Cowboys defense is still fucking nasty. The offense is missing a few running backs or a couple running backs, but they looked pretty good against the Browns, which I don't really get. Zeke looked way better than I thought he was going to.
Yes.
The run game worked. The Cowboys offense clicked, and the Browns are horrible. Wow.
Horrible. And now Njoku's hurt.
Get back to the massage table, Deshaun. That's all I gotta say. How is he so shit? How is he so shit, man? It's not even funny. It doesn't even look like he knows how to play the game anymore. He's no brain cells. I mean, it was a mockery of the sport what he was doing on Sunday. My eyes were bleeding watching that 4 o'clock slate. It was not fun. How is Ezekiel Elliott suddenly back again? Right? Is he just the best? Is he just the best running back in the NFL? No, I'm just kidding. They don't really have a lot of weapons in their depth chart on the running back side, but let's see what Zeke can do. He'll probably punch in a couple of red zones. Rico Dowdle, I think he's somewhat of a weapon. We didn't really see him much, but I liked what I saw from Brandon Cooks. He had a nice little touchdown. I think he's going to establish himself as more of a wide receiver 2 this season than he ever has before. He had those 2 really bad seasons before this, but I think he's on the up. There's some more room for him this season.
Those 2 bad seasons before this, but he's been a 2, arguably a 1 before in his career. So I think he'll be fine. That was a nice throw by Dak to him in the end zone off balance. Nice touchdown pass.
Yeah.
I haven't changed my mind about Dallas too much. I was impressed. They played better.
Wait, really? You still think they're missing playoffs?
Yeah, I'm not changing that.
Dude, you're crazy.
You told me the Browns would win.
Yeah, I thought the Browns would win that game.
Okay.
That was one of my straight money lines that didn't hit. But hey, what can you do, right? What can you do? Make some mistakes here and there. I picked the Jags too.
You're severely underrating the Cowboys and 49ers, but let's move on.
Hey, I have the Niners in. I still think Niners are a great team.
The Rams going to the Super Bowl, you crazy.
No, I don't. I have the Lions going to the Super Bowl. Rams are in the championship game.
You have the Rams winning the championship game.
No.
You have Rams over the 49ers, though. 49ers are out before the Rams.
Yes.
Right?
Week 1, right? But hey, we'll see Dallas against the Saints. Saints looking a bit better with Clint Kubiak as their OC. That's nice.
Who?
Clint Kubiak, son of Gary Kubiak, who won Super Bowl 50 with Peyton Manning and was the passing game coordinator of the 49ers last year. So they grabbed a nice little Shanahan guy, and Derek Carr has an 82 completion percentage, 3 TDs, and 200 yards.
That's more of a Panthers thing, though.
47 points. I get it's the Panthers, but it's nice.
No, they were clicking. They were clicking.
You want to beat a bad team. If you're a good team, smash a bad team.
And for an old-ass team, too, for them to do that, that impressed me.
Dallas versus them next week, kind of exciting. I would admittedly lean Dallas, though. So there you go. Rams versus Lions, 26-20 overtime win. We kind of already touched on this. Stafford looking nice. No look passes in there. But the Lions they're just better. Better in the end. They have a better team. What I was really impressed with was that running game, like you guys said, just taking over in that overtime period. Like, wow. They just didn't have to do anything. They just asserted their will over the Rams defense, and that is just such a crazy thing to have in your arsenal if you're a football team. It reminds me of the Eagles when they went to the Super Bowl with Carson Wentz in that year. Late in games, they were just able to run out the clock, and that is so valuable. And so the Lions, they were very impressive.
I honestly think they have the best backfield in the NFL right now. Like the most dynamic. Both of Montgomery and Gibbs can cover all aspects, right? They have that outside run. They have the inside punch it in red zone plays. Like
they can so dominant.
The whole line, they can chew clock. It is a fucking unreal team. And I was really impressed by Jameson Williams. He had one of his best performances. I think maybe he could turn into more of a wide receiver 2 this season than he ever has. Because that was the only thing that I would say that was a big weakness on the Lions is their wide receiver room, right?
Yeah,
you got Amon-Ra, but you don't have an established number 2, so let that be Williams this season. It was a good start.
Yeah, I feel like it was a pretty, not expected because you never expect overtime, but it's a pretty reasonable result for whatever the expectations were going into this game. I did have the Rams on the spread. I thought they were going to lose by a field goal, so that was a bit disappointing. But yeah, expected.
Yeah,
Lions are really good.
Rams plus 4.5 seemed like, honestly, just a great number. I was like, there's no way. It seems like a 3-point game going either way. You expect the Lions to win, but easily the Rams could win. But in the end, their team's Lions, they put it away. Okay, last quick reaction. Bills versus Cardinals, 34-28. I don't have much to say here. Kyler Murray looked very dynamic. That offense was nice. Marvin Harrison Jr., couldn't see him, though. He made, I think, 1 catch, 4 yards. And Josh Allen, my God, being against him in fantasy is painful to watch because I'm watching this really high, fun offensive game, but as soon as they get in the red zone, he starts rolling out. I just know that nothing is stopping him from getting in the end zone. He's just too dominant. So that was extremely frustrating. But Bills looking good.
He just Superman dives into the end zone. Like, what do you do as a defense against that? I don't see that ever, man.
He's bigger than the corners.
Insane, and he's like fearless too, right? Like he's a game changer, fantasy, that's for sure. Hey, the Cardinals stuck in that game. They were there until the end of that fourth quarter. That was a 1-score game. If Kyler found Marvin Harrison on that one route where he was wide open, I'm sure we've all seen this by now. That was a game-winning touchdown potentially, and he just couldn't find him, right? So I think their chemistry will build throughout the season.
Bills are pretty good. Josh Allen, MVP year. I'm hopping on the train, or I'm riding the train. I've been on the train.
Nice start.
We'll continue to champion it until the end of the year. And for the Cardinals, they're scrappy. They're pretty good on offense. Probably going to win some weird games this year that they don't really have any business doing. And I think they're going to finish above the Seahawks in the division.
Hey, fuck you, guy.
Last.
Seahawks on top, bro. Gino's coming back. Just watch out.
Gino's finally writing back, you know? I wrote him off, and now he's writing back.
He ain't right back, man.
Hey, 33-yard rushing touchdown by him was nice.
Yeah, best of his career, man.